We're back. We're back for another live. Welcome back. Welcome in. Thank you for stopping in. We appreciate your viewership. Let me get this things out the way. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Of course. Um we got some stuff to talk about today. We got some stuff to talk about. I tried doing a live yesterday and I had ended up losing power. So I had to cut the live short. But I still posted a video that was a part of the live and had to remove the live. And now we're starting pretty much episode 7 back over again, but skipping the first part that we did. A few things I want to go over today. Make sure you leave a like in on the stream. Make sure you leave a like if you're reviewing this, if you're rewatching this. Make sure you comment down below your thoughts on these situations that we review, because we always want to hear what the people are saying and what the people are thinking. And make sure you hit that subscribe button for your boy. You know what I'm saying? And if you rocking with me for real, check the link in the description. There is a website there for funkyjunkieco.com. Check out the gear there. Check out the gear. If you like the gear, cop something you like. That's all we can say. Cop something you like, and we appreciate it. But we got some topics today to talk about. And apparently, there is a fight on an Indian flight. A fight on an Indian flight because they were delayed over 13 hours. Now, I'd be pretty upset as a passenger myself if I had to go onto a flight that was delayed 13 hours. And not only was it delayed 13 hours, you kept me on the plane for 13 hours. Now, you had a great excuse to why you didn't take off this plane. This plane didn't take off, but the excuse to have me sitting there for 13 hours, that could cause for some hands to be thrown. So, not saying that I understand, but I understand. But let's review this video. Apparently, there was a fight on the Indigo flight due to delays due to fog. Let's see what happens. Let's tune in.
A passenger on board an Indigo Airlines flight allegedly assaulted the plane's pilot after a delay of 13 hours. The flight, scheduled from Delhi to Goa, was delayed due to fog and low visibility on Sunday evening. In a viral video of the incident at around 7 p.m. on Sunday, the pilot of the plane is seen addressing flyers about the delay when the accused in a yellow hoodie suddenly rushes towards him and drives a punch to the pilot's.
First of all, we gotta ask the question here. Why is that pilot so scary? We gotta ask that question. Now, I know you see a man running up on you. You got a woman right there, right next to you, on his right, which is this guy in the yellow's left. You got a guy that is rushing to you, and the first thing you do is take the hit, and then you back up. I'm not gonna say that, he shouldn't have backed up, but he took the hit, and then he backed up. And then he didn't do anything after that. So I'm a little confused on if this pilot is really him. That's all I gotta say. Let's continue.
Face. After being assaulted, the pilot is seen stepping back as one of the air hostesses tries to control the situation.
Please, let's not. You are lying.
Why is homegirl standing up for the pilot? The pilot should be saying his piece. Look at where the pilot's at. Pilot's all the way in the back. I know it's pretty blurry. Somebody must have been recording this on a Samsung. But it's pretty blurry. But the pilot's gone. He dipped. He's like, you gotta get through my first line of defense, which is these two females right here. Anyways, let's continue.
The passenger is seen hurling abuses at the pilot and saying if he cannot land the flight on time, he should open the aircraft gates and let all the passengers go.
Which I agree with. But does that cause for you to now try to put your hands on the pilot? I think you're wilding for that one, brother. I think you're wilding for that one. And he probably got kicked off. He probably got fined, and he probably got arrested. Which, well deserved. Let's continue.
The air hostess is then heard screaming at the passenger, rebuking him for assaulting the pilot. Devesh Mala, Deputy Commissioner of Police, said they received the complaint from Anup Kumar, the pilot of the flight, who said the passenger, Sahil Kataria, assaulted and misbehaved with his co-pilot. On the basis of the complaint, an FIR has been lodged. With dense fog disrupting flight operations in Delhi again on Monday, the IGI airport saw multiple delays and cancellations.
Listen, I'd rather be safe than sorry, man. I'd rather be safe than sorry. If there is fog in the sky, I'm not ready to die. And all I can say is RIP to Kobe Bryant. We miss you. We love you. But this is the same type of situation that Kobe Bryant had died in. So I fully understand why they stopped. I fully understand why they stopped. But thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Twitch. Today, the hoodie is on. I'm feeling like a Don. So we here. I got a few more topics to talk about today. I won't be here long today. I don't think I'll be here long. But I definitely want to get onto this next topic. And apparently, a high school teacher has been sleeping with her student. Now, let's be honest here. In high school coming up, there was definitely a lot of talks from both sides, boys and girls, of how hot these teachers are, how cute these teachers are. Oh, if they ever gave me the chance. And we go from there. But obviously, in this case, and in most of the cases, it is absolutely wrong. It's absolutely disgusting. And these people are predators. These people are predators. I'm just making sure you guys know. No matter how cute this woman looks, no matter how handsome that man is, they are predators. Let's review these predators. Let's review. Let's continue.
Yet another teacher is arrested for an alleged sexual relationship with a student. It's just one of many cases we've covered in recent weeks, highlighting a disturbing pattern emerging across the nation. This time, we're headed to Charlotte, North Carolina, where 26-year-old biology teacher Gabriella Neufeld is accused of having sex with an 18-year-old student.
Let's stop it there. Let's take a good look at this woman. Okay? Nice smile, nice teeth. She's glowing. Nice hair, curly hair. You know, this is your typical light skin. This is your typical light skin. She's not doing too much. She's not doing too least. But of course, if I if you a guy in high school, you're definitely feeling this teacher.
These accusations all came to light on Wednesday. According to court docs, Neufeld engaged in intercourse or a sexual act at least 5 times since October 18th. While the interactions didn't happen at school, they allegedly happened with an 18-year-old male student. After an interview with police, Neufeld was arrested and booked into the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. She was later released on $75,000 bond.
Okay, let's go over a couple things here, right? The kid was 18. The kid was 18. So technically he is an adult. Technically they both are adults. And I'm pretty sure it was probably consensual. But definitely it was against the rules of the school. Regardless of what age they were, there's rules. And the rules were broken. And she was locked up because of it. Now she had to pay 75. Let me make sure I got my numbers right. Let me make sure.
At school, they allegedly happened with an 18-year-old male student. After an interview with police, Neufeld was arrested and booked into the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. She was later released on $75,000 bond.
$75,000 bond. That's how much she had to pay to get out. Now, I would love to ask this teacher if it was worth it. I would love to know her thoughts today. Look at this. This is sad. Let's continue.
This power dynamic is one we've covered extensively at Law and Crime Network, as handfuls of similar cases have made the headlines since the start of the school year.
Look at this woman. Look at this woman. What are you out here doing, you cougars, sleeping with children? Y'all pedophiles and predators need to stop.
But experts like forensic psychologist Dr. John Delatorre say this shocking pattern has existed for years.
In the 90s, 80s, and 70s, early on, all of these things were happening. These things have been happening since there was a teacher and there was a student, right? So from the beginning of time, abuses like this have been occurring. But the technology wasn't there to engage in these kinds of things. And so current, like in contemporary times, having an online relationship and having an offline relationship are almost the same thing. And so you can engage in these kinds of sex acts, sexual texts, videos, images being sent to one another.
He says the inappropriate relationships start normally with a student-teacher dynamic. It's
Wholesome looking woman, very pretty woman, but not that smart, clearly. I mean, you got your degree in biology, but did you get your degree in common sense? Come on, man. Why would you throw away your career like that? Why would you throw away your opportunities like that? When you know you can probably get some simp to do whatever he wants, whatever you want him to do for you. Respectfully. There is some guy out there that will probably worship her feet, and she don't even have to do anything. Probably she could just be her, but instead she decides she wants to sleep with one of her kids, one of her students that she's supposed to be teaching.
a gradual shift into something much darker.
It is a pretty big jump, and it's a jump that actually happens over time, right? It's not one single jump. It's one little tiny little hop from one step to the next. Now, remember, some individuals actually do get sexual gratification from engaging in this behavior. So, part of the thought process is also coupled with a physical gratification that the person is receiving from engaging in this behavior. It's also psychological in that they're getting attention from the victim. So there's a lot of dynamics that are at play when it comes to convincing the person that what they are doing.
Very, very pretty girl, man. Very, very pretty girl. And of course, she had probably all the kids hitting on her. All the students was hitting on her. All the kids, all the boys was like, I gotta get Miss Gabrielle. That's a fact.
Doing is the right thing. They always know that it's wrong. They've always known and they always will know that the behavior is wrong. They just don't care anymore.
And it's that careless nature that we've seen much of in recent months. We've covered the story of Peyton Shires, the 24-year-old.
Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at these predators. Look at these predators.
social worker now accused of having sex with a boy she'd been assigned to counsel. Authorities in Ohio say Shires recorded videos of herself having sex with a boy. Investigators found that out.
She recorded it too. These are some freaky teachers. These are some freaky teachers. This wasn't going on in my high school. I promise you that.
Evidence on the boy's phone, and Shires admitted to the relationship while she was on the phone with his mom. At the same time, police were listening in. She's now charged with unlawful sexual contact with a minor. In the case of Ricky Lynn Laughlin, it's attempted rape that put the...
Look at these women. They are not ugly women either. Like, what? What is going on? Why are there so much predators out there like this?
One-time Missouri teacher in the headlines. Investigators say she invited a 16-year-old student to have sex with her while her husband was out of the home. In Pennsylvania, school counselor Kelly Ann Shute was accused of preying on a 14-year-old boy in his bedroom after his parents left the house. Investigators say the pair had inappropriate relations several times, including in her SUV and her home. California teacher Michelle Solis is accused of having a sexual relationship with a former student and sending explicit photos. 27-year-old Emily Swinkowski resigned from her teaching job in Missouri after explicit photos she took made the rounds between students. She's also accused of sexual assault, as is Cassidy Krause of Iowa.
They just keeping them coming. They ain't stopping. They got names on top of names on top of names. Like I said, these teachers wasn't in my high school, but I know them thirsty boys would have been all over it. They would have been all over it if they was in my high school for sure.
Who allegedly sent explicit photos and had sexual relations with 3 boys, ages 13 and 14. Then there's the case of Alyssa McCommon, a Tennessee teacher who's allegedly pregnant with her former student's child. Just this week, McCommon's bond was revoked following her second arrest. She faces charges of rape, coercion of a witness, aggravated.
She's like 40. She's definitely 40. Like, how you 40 and you still getting pregnant? You don't look like no 20-year-old for sure. That's crazy to me. Yo, let me know how y'all feel about this in the chat. Let me know.
Stalking and harassment. She was arrested in early September for allegedly raping a boy in her own home. She was released on bond, but arrested again when she allegedly reached out to the victim after her release, saying she was pregnant with his child. At a hearing this week, a judge ruled McCommon will remain in jail as she awaits trial. It's the disturbing nature of these cases that continues to generate interest. So we're taking a closer look now at the most recent one, Gabriella Neufeld. So to make sense of the case so far, we're joined now by law and crime legal analyst Julie Rendelman. Julie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so what struck me about this case and is what separates it from so many of the others like it is that the student in this one is 18 years old, so a legal adult, but Neufeld was still arrested and charged. Can you explain that?
Sure. So what we've typically been seeing is where a teacher engages in some type of sexual activity with a student that's also underage. This is unique because the student is 18 years old, and so he is of age. However, the law is quite clear in North Carolina. And in this case, the crime is called sexual activity with a student. And what that says is that an individual who is a teacher who is over 4 years, who is 4 years older than their student, which in this case, the victim was 18, and the teacher was, I believe, 26 years of age. The law prohibits any type of sexual activity.
So as long if she was 22, she would have been clear. If she was 22, she would have been clear, even if she was a teacher. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. But honestly, this whole situation is crazy because these people are supposed to be teaching. They're supposed to be educating. She is supposed to be letting him know which molecules goes with which atom and which micron is which proton connects to this electron. That's what we're supposed to be learning here, Miss Gabrielle.
Between the two.
She now faces 5 counts of felony sexual activity with a student by a teacher, that charge that you just explained. But is that different than rape? Is it less severe?
It is less severe. It's still a felony. They classify it in that state as a G felony. The difference is the amount of time an individual can get if, in fact, they're found guilty. In a case such as this, the defendant is potentially looking at up to 47 months, whereas in the typical cases we would see, you would have an expectation that the potential for imprisonment is much higher.
It sounds like a lot of this case is going to rely on what this 18-year-old student has to say. Would you say that he would need to testify?
What do y'all think he's going to say when he gets up on that stand? He slept with her over 5 times. He's 18 years old. She's a very attractive woman. What do we expect this young boy to say? He knew exactly what he was doing. I could tell you that much. This was not no rape. This was not no rape. And just because she was about 8 years older than him, that's the only reason she got arrested. It's not even because he was a minor. It's not even because he was her student. It's just because they were 8 years apart. This is insane.
You would expect that he will. Now, keep in mind, there might be outcry witnesses, individuals that he told what happened. There might be witnesses. We expect that when an individual is raped, that it's done in a private location, but you never know what the evidence is going to yield. There may be, which we don't know yet, there might be texts, there might be videos, there might be emails that don't require him to necessarily testify. Keep in mind that no matter what his age is, if it's a student and it's a teacher, and there is an age difference between at least 4 years, consent is irrelevant to this charge.
What happens if this 18-year-old is not cooperative and he doesn't want to testify at all? I know that you mentioned he doesn't necessarily need to, but do prosecutors need his cooperation to move forward?
She should go free. She should go free. If that 18-year-old boy decides that he's not going to testify because he already clapped 5 times, she should go free.
I think anytime you have a case, particularly where it's involving 2 individuals, it is important for the prosecution to have the victim on board. That doesn't always mean they're always on board. Can the prosecution go forward without that person, well, they can certainly subpoena them to testify and require them to, or they can potentially see if there's other evidence besides what the victim would have to say that can support any type of charge against the teacher regarding what happened with this student.
Now, from the prosecution over to the defense side, if we're looking at the defendant in this case, Gabriella Neufeld, what could her defense look like? How would she combat these 5 charges?
So it's so early on in the stage, at least from the knowledge.
I know what I would say if I was in her position. I know what I would say, but I'm not going to say it.
We have. So we don't know how strong their case is. We don't know if the victim is cooperating. We don't know if someone else came forward to say what happens and the victim's like, I don't want to be involved. And so from the defense perspective, of course, their best position would be if the victim does not want to cooperate. Their best position would be if there are no texts, there are no emails. And if the texts are potentially innocuous, they might argue that this was just a flirtation and this was nothing more than that and didn't rise to the level of a felony.
Could it be in Neufeld's best interest?
I don't think it could be a felony because it happened over 5 times. At that point, like if it's an issue between the both of them, something should have been said after the first time. This should have been brought up the first time. But the 4th, 5th, 6th time, he's in there. He's in it, she's in it, and they both having a great time. Clearly.
To take a plea deal rather than go to trial with this case?
So, Sarah, it's so early to even think about that. And again, we don't know what the defense knows. And quite frankly, the defense may not know what the prosecution knows right now. So it's so early in the arrest. It's so early in the investigation. Obviously, when someone decides that they're going to take a plea, the reason they take a plea is if they think that what's being offered is better if they were to go to trial and lose. So I think it's going to take a bit of time and really for the defense to see how strong the evidence is. And also if there's any mitigation. Does the defendant have mental health issues? Are there anything that would somehow...
I hate when they say that. Why everything got to be a mental health issue? She is a biology teacher. She went to school. She's a smart woman. This kid is a smart boy. They saw the opportunity and they struck. There's nothing mental about it. They was mentally perfectly fine when they was on her couch. They was mentally perfectly fine when they was in the classroom chilling. But now all of a sudden, she's mentally unstable. No, I'm not having it.
Lessen the blow of quite frankly, what many consider quite a horrific crime.
And we're talking about how recently this investigation began. It was just this week that these allegations came to light and that Neufeld had this interview with police. So I'm wondering, as the investigation moves forward, we're not even a week out. Is it possible that investigators will go back and look at her relationship with other students and that others may come forward?
Anytime you have any type of sex crime, whether it be student to teacher or any other scenario, the police are going to be looking not just at the...
You got to do better, Gabrielle. Gabrielle, you had a bright future ahead of you. You had a huge, bright future ahead of you. You got to do better. You got to do better next time. If there even is a next time. Hopefully you recover from this situation. But clearly, it's a sad situation. You know the funny thing about this whole thing is, right? If this was a guy on the screen, it would be a whole different conversation. It would be a bigger conversation because it's like there's such a double standard when it comes to men versus women in this topic. But that's just my thoughts. That's just my thought.
Relationship between those two, but the relationship between the teacher and any other potential students that may raise some red flags. So certainly they're going to want to do that in this case. Look, anytime a teacher has a relationship like this with the student, boundaries have clearly been crossed. And if they're willing to do it once, they potentially are willing to do it multiple times.
In this case, we know that bond was set at $75,000. Do you think that that's an appropriate amount?
Anytime bail or bond is set, the judge has many factors to consider, and one of them is the flight risk of the individual. And so, this is an individual who I believe was part of the community. She's presumed innocent at this stage. And so I don't think it's unusual for an individual who is a member of the community, who has ties to the community, and has no real basis or belief on the part of the judge that they're going to flee, that they're going to set an amount that would guarantee they return to court, but not require them to remain incarcerated.
Julie Rendelman, thank you as always for joining us and bringing us more information about this case.
Thank you, Julie. Ah, man, that's sad. That's sad. But Miss Gabriella is down bad. She's down 17. She's down 75,000. I hope it was worth it. And I hope he helped you pay some too. Cause that's just wrong. That's just wrong. She's down bad right now. But that's a sad situation, man. I believe for sure that if that was a guy on the other end, it'd be a bigger conversation for sure. For sure. It'd be a bigger conversation. But that's just my thoughts. I hope y'all are enjoying the stream so far. Thank you for tuning in again. It's your boy Dgotsauce. Make sure you leave a like for your boy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. We got one more topic, and of course, it's about our favorite president. He's starting to rub off on me. He's starting to rub off on me. What can I say? Every time I see him in the headlines, he's being attacked. And what does he do? He fixes his collar, tucks his shirt back in, and he keeps it pushing. And I have nothing to say, but I love watching this guy. I love watching this guy. I can't lie. He's the most entertaining president the world has ever seen. He is undefeated, except for when he lost to Biden. We ain't going to count that because we know Biden fumbled clearly. But he is undefeated when it comes to the media. He is undefeated when it comes to this court case. And right now, he is undefeated when it comes to the polls. It is the 2024 President of the United States, Donald Trump. He's back in headlines here. He's back in the headlines. Let's get into it.
Got some breaking news just into CNN, an update from the courtroom where the judge overseeing E. Jean Carroll's defamation case against Donald Trump has threatened to kick the former president out of the room based on his behavior. This is just coming from our team inside the courtroom. Judge Lewis Kaplan warned President Trump previously against disruptions in court as E. Jean Carroll was testifying about her sexual assault, about the damage that it caused her reputation. Trump was heard in the courtroom repeatedly saying things like, "It's not true," also saying this is a total con job. In response, Judge Kaplan stopped the proceedings and warned the former president he would kick him out.
That's right. Her lawyer was complaining to the judge about hearing him say these things, and the judge said, quote, "Mr. Trump has the right to be present here. That right can be forfeited, and it can be forfeited if he is disruptive, which what has been reported to me consists of. And if he disregards court orders, Mr. Trump, I hope I don't have to consider excluding you from the trial." Trump.
Now, let's be honest here. He's in court now. He's in trial for a sexual assault case. Probably a woman that he met years ago, that he bust down years ago. And it's now coming back because, that's what women do sometimes. They wait years after to say they've been sexually assaulted, which I don't understand why. But so he's in court. He's saying this is a bunch of jibber jabber. This is a bunch of cap, and that's it. And he's defending himself, but the judge is the judge is not having it. So the judge is like, "Yo, if you don't relax, although you have the right to be here, I'm gonna kick you out." And I just need y'all to hear what Trump said to him.
Then, according to our observers there, threw his hands up in response. The judge said, "I understand you're probably eager for me to do that," and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing what Trump replied with.
Yeah, the reply from Trump, apparently to the judge threatening him to kick him out of the room. Trump saying, quote, "I would love it." The judge in response saying, I know you would.
Can we give a round of applause? A round of applause to Trump. We've seen a man jump over and super kick, frog splash, DDT a judge for a sentencing he didn't even get yet. And Trump has been fighting for his life in court. And the judge said, "I'm going to kick you out." And Trump said, "I would love you to." Now, come on, bruh. Come on, man. He's undefeated. He's undefeated. He's undefeated. He don't even care. This judge has the power to send him packing. And he said, "I don't care what you got to say. Do what you got to do. We all know you want to do it anyways." And this is just pure drama. And it's pure comedy. But I love it. Let's continue.
But you just can't control yourself in this circumstance, apparently. The parties then left the courtroom for lunch.
That's right. Let's bring back in Misty Maris to talk a little bit about this. This is drama playing out very much in the courtroom. They have taken a break for lunch. Maybe cooler heads will prevail afterward. Maybe they won't. What do you think of this pretty extraordinary moment in court?
You know what? I thought the judge before had done the light kind of tap on the wrist, falls short of just an admonishment, as we discussed before. That's reacting in that over the top way is just far from decorum in the courtroom, and the judge controls the courtroom and has the ability to do what he needs to have the trial go smoothly, and so the jury isn't prejudiced. But this took it to the next level. The reporting, the excellent reporting indicates that you could hear Trump saying, "This is a witch hunt," and that's obviously audible to the jury. So the antics continue here. What we've seen a lot with these cases with Trump is the courthouse steps seems to be where everything explodes and where we hear a lot of this inflammatory speak. Now we're hearing it in the courtroom from the defense table. So no surprise, just full disclosure. I've been before Judge Kaplan many, many, many times. No nonsense in that courtroom. So not surprised to see, take a break, everybody go to lunch, and guess what? If this conduct continues, you're out of here. I think that will.
Which the judge, obviously, it's his courtroom, it's his rules. We understand, but we gotta give it up to Trump, man. We gotta show some Trump. We gotta show Trump some love, man. I'm gonna show Trump some love, bro, because this is amazing, man. Honestly, like, I know he's into this whole case pretty deep, and if he is really raping people, then obviously he should be held accountable, for his actions. But at the same time, like every other week we're hearing somebody else. Every other day we're hearing something else. And honestly, I believe, obviously, everybody thinks he's actually being attacked. He's actually being targeted. And this happens to people all the time. And clearly, this is not something that, wasn't just random. This was all planned. This was planned because they knew he was going to be running again for presidency.
Will be the next step if it continues down this path.
Misty, we've seen former President Trump get hit with gag orders before. Could you see one being placed on the former president here? Could it go beyond just him getting kicked out of the courtroom if he continues these kinds of characterizations of E. Jean Carroll?
It absolutely could. However, because that First Amendment right, we've seen the gag orders, and they're generally limited to the types of statements that would be potentially harmful or threatening to those in the courtroom. There could be something narrow like that. It wouldn't be a blanket gag order. I don't believe that would be the case. But there certainly could be some limitations outside the courtroom as well, depending on how this continues. Look, it seems that his lawyers are not able to control him. And I want to make a point, because I heard, of course, we're not in the courtroom. I wish we were, to actually see this all unfold. But I did hear in the reporting that the judge said, if this continues, I'm going to kick you out. And Trump said, I love it, or I would love it. And I'm wondering, because we've seen this before with especially the civil cases, just in the civil fraud trial that we were covering a week or two ago, is this setting up some sort of appellate type argument, kicking out of the courtroom? He has a right to be there. Is this a part of a broader strategy as far as how these are going to be attacked after the trial? The damages portion is concluded, then it's on appeal. I don't know, but I do think that was a bit telling with that statement now on the record with the judge. So
I think they hating on him. I'll be honest with you. I think they are targeting him. I think that he's definitely being targeted. I think that he's going to come out of this on top, even if he has to pay a little money. But I think he's going to win. I think he's still going to win, regardless of whatever they're throwing at him, whatever he's dealing with in the courtroom. His believers, sorry, I don't want to say believers because that sounds a little crazy, but his fans, his supporters are 100% rocking with him all the way, no matter what you guys say.
something to think about as this case continues.
Yeah, putting down some markers there. Misty, if you could stand by for us, I want to bring Kara Scannell back into this conversation. Kara, was the jury present for the entirety of this incident? I mean, it sounds like clearly if they were, if it was audible enough, they could have heard the part where he's saying it is a witch hunt, it really is a con job. Did the judge dismiss the jury before he admonished Trump, or did they witness this?
Oh, no, the jury was out of the courtroom when the judge had this interaction. And this is actually the second time that Carroll's attorney had raised concerns today before the judge that Trump was saying things that were audible to them. I'm sitting 2 rows behind Trump, but he's facing forward. So I just see him speaking to his attorney, but none of us can hear what he is saying because he's facing forward. But Carroll's lawyer is sitting in front of him, and she said that she could hear what he was saying, things such as witch hunt, it really is a con job. And she raised earlier to the judge that she thought some of these statements could potentially be heard by the jury.
Of course, she heard him say that. Nobody else heard him say that, but she heard him say that. And of course, she's going to bring it to the judge. And of course, she's going to say the jury should have heard it because it could potentially push the juror to another side. Of course. And she was smart to do that because if she wants to win this case, she's got to play dirty games, which that's what happens in the courtrooms. But let's continue.
The judge didn't take any kind of corrective action. She brought it up again at the break for lunch once the jury had been excused and brought it up to the judge. And so then the judge had an exchange with Trump in which he said that Trump has the right to be present here. That right can be forfeited, and it can be forfeited if he is disruptive, which what has been reported to me consists of. And if he disregards court orders, Mr. Trump, I hope I don't have to consider excluding you from the trial. And at that point, Trump threw his hands up at the air, appeared to say something, but no one could really make out what it was that he said. And the judge said, I understand you're probably eager for me to do that. And he said, I know you would. So at that point, they broke for lunch and everyone had left the courtroom. It's not clear.
So he wasn't even like talking to the judge at the first point. He was just talking to his lawyer. He's having a normal conversation. Yeah, man, this is some BS, man. This is a witch hunt for real, dude. Like, we all know this happened years ago. And I only messed with her one time. We was both drunk. You know this, man. And his lawyer's like, Sir Trump, I know, man. I just got to do my job. We just got to show up, because if we don't show up, it's going to look really bad for you too. And that's exactly the conversation he was having. But what her lawyer heard was witch hunt.
Clear if Trump is coming back after the lunch break or if he's going to proceed to his building to give public remarks. But that is where things were left today after E. Jean Carroll had been testifying on the stand for several hours, describing the statements that Trump had made that the other jury had already found to be defamatory, including threats to her life, people wishing that she would be raped, and saying how much it had scared her and threatened her physical safety. So this was Trump. He'd reacted a lot during her testimony, but most of it just seemed to be making statements to his lawyer, which I saw repeatedly. He was passing notes to his lawyer.
That's what he can do. And it should not be a problem. He was not being disruptive. He was not being outlandish. He was not saying anything out loud to the court, to the judge, until they said something to him. There's only so much you can take.
He glanced over at the jury at one point, but we couldn't hear behind him any of the words that he was saying. But clearly Carroll's attorney saying that those words were audible to them sitting in front of him, and they were worried that the jury could also hear that.
And Kara, we also want to point out there was a different point earlier in the day where the judge had to reprimand Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, I believe at more than one occasion. Walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, there has been tension since yesterday involving Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, and the judge. Both yesterday and again this morning, she asked the judge if they could not have court on Thursday because Trump has his mother-in-law's funeral that day in Florida. And the judge has previously ruled on that before the trial started. Habba brought it up yesterday. She brought it up again today, saying she thought it was insanely unfair. And the judge saying nothing is stopping Trump from attending his mother-in-law's funeral, and nothing is stopping him from coming to court. It's ultimately Trump's choice. Habba had pressed.
Wow. Not to say that, obviously if you have court, you should be in court, but if he lost his mother-in-law. He lost his mother-in-law. They've been asked you to move the date. You can't move the date one day. You can't move the date one day. Like, this is the most coverage you're going to get. And you can't move it one day. It's not like he's fighting a murder case here. It's not like he killed somebody. He might have raped somebody, but he didn't kill anyone. And I can see why the judge is like, nah. At the end of the day, Trump, you guys show up to court, and that's tough.
That again, and the judge told her several times, sit down. I've already ruled, we're moving on. We're not arguing about this again. And there have been several other times where she has objected and she started to argue in court and the judge would cut her off. But, he has also agreed with some of her objections and told Carroll to answer the question she was asked and not to just meander and give a story. So, it's not as though he had been leading against Trump's attorney, but there has been a lot more sparring between them. And certainly with Trump there in the room, Trump having these reactions, which the judge is facing Trump. He can see what he is doing and he can see his facial expressions better than us reporters who are sitting behind him. So, this, though, is a judge. There's Lewis Kaplan A lot of people say judges are no nonsense. He truly is. He runs a very tight courtroom, and we'll see what more he does about this if Trump does continue to attend the court hearings.
Yeah, he's
Boris
putting
Brianna?
up some very clear boundaries there. Kara Scannell, thank you so much from outside of court there in New York.
We thank you. Thank you. That was a great video. I gotta say this though, man. I feel like Trump is definitely going to get out of this. I think he's got a long trial awaiting him. But I think he's gonna get out of this. I think he's gonna win. If he doesn't win, he's gonna pay a fee. And they're gonna move on. It's not tarnishing his career. It's not tarnishing his polls. It's not tarnishing his reputation. His people love him to death, and they are prepared to do whatever it takes for him to win. And I love to see it because this is politics. This is politics. That's what we like to see. I got a little more time on my hands. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I appreciate your viewership. We're going to go over one more video here. And this one is more concerning because, like we keep saying, for some reason, the U.S. keeps getting into wars. And they're thousands of miles away. And I have to pay these damn taxes all the time just so they could send $1 million bomb to Iran, to Pakistan, to Russia, just to let it explode, kill people, and stir up even more war. But this guy, a lot of people are afraid of this guy. This guy is nothing to play with. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. I'll tell you right now, he's short. He's very short. And he's very stubby. And his name is Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un has talked about joining the war. Now, who wants smoke with North Korea? Tap your neighbor and say, neighbor, who wants smoke? Who wants smoke with North Korea? They want smoke with us, though. Tune in.
That's another nation constantly on the brink, North Korea. The Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un has issued a diktat. He has asked the country to, quote unquote, accelerate war preparations. Again, the announcement came during North Korea's annual review. The Hermit Kingdom's leadership is looking back on all the work done in the past year. They're holding meetings to plan next year's budget and agenda. And this meeting is where Kim issued the war readiness order. He says the preparation is necessary because, and I'm quoting, because of unprecedented confrontational moves by the US. So he's citing American provocation for this military buildup. Here's our report.
Listen.
It's a busy week.
We don't even know what Homeboy has done. We don't know what he's done yet. We don't know what the U.S. has done. Sorry about that. We don't know what the U.S. has done. We don't know why he's mad at us. But it looks like he's mad again. He's mad again for some reason. Kim Jong-un is saying it's time to start prepping for war. We are already in 3 different places sending out millions of dollars. Did y'all hear that Ukraine is running out of US dollars and US missiles and US war equipment, and they cannot maintain another few weeks of Russia's attacks? Did y'all hear that Ukraine is asking the US to please send more money, please send more missiles, please send more army, because they cannot hold off and they cannot process their own equipment, nor can they afford to buy any other equipment for their military? Like, this is nuts. We're fighting Russia. We're fighting Hamas. Now we're fighting the Houthis. Of course, we got smoke with Iran and Iraq already. And now we've got smoke with Kim Jong-un. I thought we were supposed to stay far away from this guy. I thought we were supposed to stay far away. But let's continue.
Pyongyang for the North Korean government. Senior leaders are pulling up in their Mercedes-Benz limousines. The cars are technically banned in North Korea because of sanctions imposed on luxury goods, but it seems they're easily available to the top North Korean officials. All these senior Workers' Party of Korea leaders are gathering in the capital for a year-end review. Every year, there's a plenary meeting of the party's central committee. This year is no different. The senior leadership has gathered to present their reports, and of course, praise the visionary policies of their supreme leader, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, y'all can say what y'all want about Kim Jong-un. And I hope I'm saying his name right, because I don't want no smoke either. But his people love him. His people love him. You think Trump's people love Trump? No, this guy's people loves Kim Jong-un. Look at how many thousands of thousands of Koreans are just standing up, cheering him on. It's crazy.
Look at their reactions when the man of the moment arrived.
Look at this.
The excitement and the devotion.
They're all
Kim had to
clapping the
wave to
same
them
way
and tell
too.
them to settle down. Like a rock star asking the audience to be quiet and let the show begin. And much like a famed rock star, Kim was sure to play his greatest hits. He issued the diktat they'd all come to hear: accelerate war preparations. Yes, like every year, Kim made sure to call for more military readiness, and the crowd went wild. Another standing ovation. There was non-stop cheering in the bright red party hall, and also over at North Korea.
These dudes is ready for war. These dudes is ready for war. You can't tell me World War III is not coming. You can't tell me World War III is not coming. It's right around the corner. It's taking maybe 1 or 2 more people to join in, and you can expect us all to die. This is crazy.
Korean state media stations. Kim had given the word North Korea would fight back. Against whom? The US, apparently, and by extension, American allies in the Far East. Kim's war preparation order was issued to 3 entities.
He said, I want smoke with the US and your enemy and your allies. Said whoever wants to smoke can come and get it. This is why Trump was a good thing. This is why Trump was a good thing. Y'all can say Trump was this and that, Trump is this and that, but when it came to the respect of the other leaders of the countries, Trump had the respect. He could sit down and have a conversation with these guys. You know good and well this guy's not talking to Biden. He's not talking to Kamala Harris. We can forget about that.
The North Korean military, the country's military industrial complex, and of course, the nuclear weapons sector. Pyongyang has been making big strides on that third front. Last week, the country had test launched a new intercontinental ballistic missile, the Hwasong-18. The nuclear-capable missile can reach any corner of the US. That's what Japan and South Korea are saying.
The missile can reach any corner of the US. I just need y'all to hear that. Any corner of the US this missile can reach. And I believe it travels at the speed of light.
Two American allies have been quite worried since last week's launch. South Korea has even begun military drills, just in case Pyongyang decides to go for a surprise attack. Kim Jong-un didn't seem too concerned about his southern neighbor yesterday. His eye is on the big prize, the overbearing Uncle Sam.
Look at him. I'm so disappointed in Joe Biden. I'm so disappointed in our president and what he has done war-wise. I'm so disappointed in what he has done war-wise. He has done some good stuff too. So I can't pin him to the cross, but this is insane. They don't like him, and now they're gonna put North Korea in the war just because he don't like him. And I understand, but don't attack us all. That's all I'm saying.
Kim plans to work with like-minded allies to counter Washington. He said he would expand strategic cooperation with anti-imperialist independent countries. Most likely, that means Russia. Kim met with Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier this year. He's been accused of selling weapons to Moscow for use in the Ukraine war. So expanding that relationship is a logical next step.
Putin plus Kim Jong-un plus China plus Iran plus Iraq. I know we got some allies, but they just sound a lot stronger. They just sound dangerous. And nobody wants to mess with North Korea. Everybody knows this. Russia, nobody wants to mess with them either, obviously. And nobody wants to mess with China. Y'all are supposed to just be doing nice business, having good conversations, productive conversations on how we can make the world a better place, how we can all work together and stop this war. But instead, no. It's time to increase the war. That's the talks. World War III is coming, y'all. Just get prepared.
According to reports, that will also help with North Korea's luxury car smuggling. Clearly something that's important to the ruling party. Kim's cheering officials do seem to like their Mercedes Maybachs. Maybe those were discussed during the meeting as well? It was, after all, about Pyongyang's plans for 2024. North Korean media just shared a jingoistic snippet of the whole affair. More policies were certainly announced, but we'll have to wait for a few more days for those details. The Hermit Kingdom usually televises Kim's grand speech every New Year's Day. This little speech was just a teaser. There's a lot.
Yo. They love this guy. They love this guy.
Every New Year's Day.
Look at this.
This little speech was just a teaser.
Look at this. They literally got their hands up. This woman right here, she's crying. She's crying. She's about a good 50 yards away. But she's literally crying. She probably crying too. Matter of fact, it kind of looked like Autumn's crying. Is that me? Or is these girls all crying? All right, Lana, let me stop.
There's a lot more to come.
They're cheering like they at a concert. And they talking about war, straight ammunition. But they cheering like they at a concert. This is what we dealing with, boys. This is what we dealing with. Again, I thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all viewership, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Make sure you leave a like on your way out. It's another stream in the books, episode 7. It's been real. I hope y'all have a great rest of your night. And remember, as always, wake up every day, go for it, kill your dreams, crush it, and make it happen, man. All gas, no brakes, all 2024. Love you. Peace.